Hey all, I'm your host Michael and welcome back to Awful Stories. As always, if you enjoy, make sure to leave the video a like and consider subscribing if you're new. With that said, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Tough Volcano in the relationship advice subreddit. The post is titled GF and I got into a huge fight over a keyboard, thinking about ending things based on her behavior. So my girlfriend and I are both 26 and we got in a fight about this 2 nights ago and she's making it seem like I'm being a jerk. We've been dating for about 4.5 months. My girlfriend has a 2013 Lenovo laptop that has seen better days. As it stands right now, among some other issues, her keyboard doesn't work at all. Because of this, she always uses a small Bluetooth keyboard with her laptop. She texted me the next morning saying that her wireless keyboard had stopped working as well. We had already planned for me to stay the night at her place after I got off work, so I offered to stop by my place on the way to grab her a keyboard, as I have a few extras. When I got to her place, she was eagerly awaiting the keyboard, which makes sense as she hadn't been able to use her computer for most of the day. But when I handed her the keyboard, she started getting really quiet and pouty. A bit later, when I asked her what was wrong, she said she thought I'd be bringing her something nicer like the keyboard I have at my desk. The thing is, I have a really nice keyboard at my desk. I'm a programmer and I love this keyboard so much that I even bring it to work with me. I also have specific macro profiles for it that definitely improve my workflow. For context, I had an extra Amazon Basics keyboard, about $15, lying around, still brand new in the box. My personal keyboard, which I've had for years, is some variant of the Razer Black Widow, about $120. Anyway, she was apparently expecting me to be selfless and let her use my nice keyboard while I used the Amazon one. She was upset that I didn't value her enough to lend her my nice possessions and instead left her with the cheap $10 keyboard, her words. She said that if the situation were reversed, she'd lend me the nice keyboard. I explained to her that I have my keyboard specifically set up for work and that because I'm so used to it, it would hinder my ability to do my job if I didn't have it. We continued to argue about it. Things really came to a head when she boldly claimed that if I wasn't willing to lend her my nice keyboard, then I should have bought her a nice new keyboard if I really cared about her. That's when I got really mad. I told her she was acting like an entitled, spoiled child and that she should have been grateful that I went out of my way in the first place to grab her the Amazon keyboard. She started crying and asked me to go home. I left, but I still gave her the Amazon keyboard to use. I was far more upset about the principle of the situation than the keyboard itself. So now she's calling me an asshole for both not giving her my keyboard and for calling her spoiled. We're going to meet up tomorrow to talk about this in person because I refuse to continue this silly argument over text. I'm thinking about ending things with her as I feel like this is her showing me her true colors. Edit, she texted me asking to meet up tonight instead of tomorrow as she is feeling anxious and stressed about the situation. I will give everyone an update later tonight or tomorrow morning. I also wanted to clarify that she's never acted like this before, although admittedly, we haven't been together for very long. Some of you suggested that maybe I'm not making her feel valued and that this situation is a symptom of that. While I think I both show and tell her that she's valued in different ways, this may be something I bring up with her. It, of course, doesn't excuse her behavior, but it may explain some of it. Cheers. Update. We met earlier tonight and sat down to talk. I was somewhat prepared to end things with her, so I suggested we meet at her place so that I could bail if things went south, and they did. Even though I thought I had made my post as anonymous as possible, one of my GF's co-workers figured out who the post was about. GF's age, working in HR, which I mentioned in a comment, the same computer problems, dating a programmer, etc., and sent it to my GF. The reason she wanted to meet early was because she was furious that I had made the post, airing our dirty laundry. In a sense, I guess she was right, because at least one person had figured it out. My GF has never used Reddit, so I figured I was safe. There's a strong chance she'll read this one as well. Anyway, she immediately began berating me, telling me that I made her look bad in the post and lied about the details of our argument to get people on my side. I asked her to point out any part of it that wasn't true or where I had lied. Long story short, she couldn't point to a single thing. I definitely raised my voice when I told her that if she looked bad, it was only because of her actions. I told her I had only made the post to get some perspective on the matter. The post was 100% accurate, and she knew it. She began to tear up and asked me if I really was considering leaving her over the keyboard. I asked her if she understood that this wasn't about the keyboard. It was about the way she acted toward me when I was trying to do her a favor. She stayed silent and didn't answer. I asked her what had prompted this outburst and whether everything was okay with her. I asked if anything had happened with her friends, parents, or at work that was upsetting her and may have led to this. She got really defensive, asking, "Are you calling me crazy? And do you think I'm unstable?" I had no idea where she was going with this. I told her I wasn't calling her crazy, but that she had to understand that I was quite confused about how she was acting and that there had to be a reason for it. We talked in circles for a bit, and I tried to pry it out of her. I still don't know what caused all of this because she simply wouldn't tell me. When I realized our conversation was going nowhere, I finally asked her if we were going to have an adult conversation or if this was the hill she was willing to let the relationship die on. She asked, "What do you want from me?" And I said, "I want an apology. I'm getting tired of typing, so I'll wrap this up quickly." She was absolutely unwilling to apologize. She thought that my betrayal of posting about this was far worse than her initial behavior. We talked for about 5 more minutes before I told her that I didn't even care anymore. I told her this whole thing was exhausting, as she wasn't willing to help us get to the bottom of this and that we should just break up. I didn't waste any time making my way to the door. As I was leaving, she asked if I wanted the keyboard back. She didn't ask to be nice, she was definitely trying to get on my nerves. I could tell by her tone of voice. I told her she could keep it as long as she promised never to call or text me again. I've been getting tons of not so nice messages from her friends, which finally prompted me to delete my Facebook. She obviously told her friends some false version of the story that made it seem like I really did leave her over the keyboard. I couldn't care less, as I'll never be seeing any of them again. We only dated for about 4 months, so in the end, I don't feel terribly heartbroken, mostly just relief that it's over, but also confusion. I still have no idea why she acted out. I hate this kind of behavior. It's not cute, and it just comes across as incredibly spoiled and bratty. Not only that, but this girl is a gaslighter. I found it incredibly funny that after the two had broken up, then the girl decided it was time to apologize. I'm happy that OP declined and just shut the door to that chapter of his life. At first, I was actually thinking that this was just a joke, but after realizing that the girl was serious, I just had to roll my eyes. This next story was made about 8 years ago by a throwaway account. The post is titled, "I got in a car accident because my company insisted I do an event in a remote town during a blizzard. I have a part-time job with a promo company sampling food or drinks at events, stores, or wherever the brand being sampled pays us to go. The company is super adamant that we complete every shift we sign up for or find coverage on our own. My contract flat out says that if I am in the hospital, they need to see the bill as proof. Well, I had an event last night during the blizzard that hit my area. It was in a tiny remote town that you have to take back roads to get to. I talked to the store and my employer, but they would not cancel it. Unsurprisingly, the event was a total bust. No one was coming into the store, and I barely gave out any samples, let alone sold anything. After the event on my drive home, I hit a patch of black ice and went off the road into a telephone pole. I am okay, just some bumps, bruises, and scratches, my glasses broke, but I'm already feeling sore today, and my car is definitely messed up. I haven't told my company what happened yet. They are not liable. I signed a form when I started, and that's fine. I'm not in a lawyer up and make them pay rage or anything, but I am really upset they had me do this event. With that location, it would have been a slow one in good weather, let alone bad. I'm also upset because I know I will be required to find coverage for the shifts I signed up for in the upcoming weeks. I can't do them if I don't have a car. How do I calmly approach all this with my manager? What do I say? How do I express how upset I am without sounding accusatory or rude? I know I'm likely to get emotional no matter what. It was a really stressful experience that I'm going to have to address again and again as I deal with the insurance claims and bills over the next few weeks. Update. I can't believe it's already been 2 years since my letter. To confirm what many people guessed, I was a part-time independent contractor for this company. I shared in the original comments how I told my manager I was in an accident while driving home from the event and wouldn't be able to work for a while. She simply told me to let her know when I could work again and to find someone to cover my upcoming shifts. I tried to push for the company to handle my shifts, but ultimately I had to find coverage myself. Then I actually couldn't work for quite some time. By the time I was able to go back to that job, I honestly wanted nothing to do with them, so I quit instead. I mentioned in my resignation that I felt their weather policy was dangerous and that they should consider giving employees some say in whether it is safe to drive. My manager didn't even acknowledge what I said. She basically just gave me an "okay, I'll take you off our lists." The funny thing is, they never took me off their email list or job board, despite several reminders from me. I still get their emails to this day. Most of their emails now are either pleas for someone to take upcoming shifts, updates about adding or losing clients. They seem to cycle through clients quickly, offers of incentives if you refer a friend to work for them, or announcements that a manager has left because they couldn't handle the hours, stress, or work-life balance, or some other kind of aggressive sounding statement, so draw your own conclusions there. I certainly have. But enough about them. I mentioned before that I couldn't work for a while. It turned out I actually hurt my shoulder pretty badly. I ended up needing surgery and then was in physical therapy for several months, so 2017 was pretty rough. I have made a full recovery at this point, and finally this summer I was able to rejoin my favorite sport. Plus, my full-time job was so amazing during this time. They let me work from home while my car was in the shop, gave me all the time I needed for the surgery, didn't deduct any PTO for my physical therapy sessions, and let me work from home on days when I was just really sore. I also got a significant raise this year despite all of the craziness in 2017. The whole experience has made me so appreciative of good companies that actually care for their employees. In case anyone still needs to hear it, if you don't put effort into your people, they're not going to put effort into your company. Final update. I had to laugh and immediately send you an update when I received this text message today. "Hi OP, this is Jane, your manager from Promotion Company. Did you see my email yesterday? We still have some open shifts this weekend. Please text or email me your availability so we can get them filled." Wow, no one from that company has texted me since shortly after my update in December 2018. Someone suggested I start replying by questioning their policies again, and that worked like a charm to get them to stop contacting me. Great suggestion. I assumed they had finally figured out that I really don't work there anymore. Out of curiosity, I just checked my filtered emails and yep, I'm still getting their emails multiple a week. Too funny. I texted Jane back, letting her know I quit over 2 years ago and moved out of state several months ago, which is the only state they're active in. Maybe that'll finally stop them. Otherwise, I'm still at the same wonderful company that got me through my original injury in late 2016. I moved to a different location for my spouse's new job earlier this year, and now I get to work from home half the week as well. In that past, when I was more green, I thought that you should always work incredibly hard. To a degree, I do think that hard work is incredibly important in traditional fields, but most of these employers do not deserve your maximum effort. I'm not saying to slack off, but I sure as hell wouldn't want to give my work everything I have if I knew I was just going to be tossed aside like an object. Make sure to take care of yourself and ideally get yourself somewhere that actually values you, which I understand is easier said than done.